Hi everyone, and welcome back to Belinda's DIYs. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you, and I hope that you stick around long enough so that you can subscribe to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be creating some beautiful Dollar Tree do-it-yourself glam Christmas decor. I would really love to hear from you, so please let me know which is your favorite DIY. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. For this DIY, you're going to need 2 of these Dollar Tree boxed wall decor, and these have these dog prints, and I'm only letting you know because these are a little bit different than your typical box decor, and I'll show you in just a little bit what it is. So I'm going to start by removing the paw that it has on the center and also that piece of wood. I'm also going to be using this gift bag from Dollar Tree, and it's this brand Voila. They have several of these really pretty gift bags right now. Now it also has the matte side on the other side, but for this project I'm going to be using the shiny golden dots. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the gift bag to the side that I'll be using. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these boxes is I'm going to remove the little hanger it has on the back, and this is what's different about these is that it has a little hanger, and also I'm not sure if you can see it, but it does have the frame, and then it has an insert, which is really good because you can just push it out and then you can change it up as you like, which that's what I'm going to be doing. So here I'm just showing you the back side once I remove the insert, and what it has is this little pieces of staples. So what I'm going to do is just remove them with my needle nose pliers. So I'm going to go ahead and put the frames aside, and now I'm going to work on the inserts. So what I'm doing here is just making sure that I have enough of the paper for both inserts. And now I'm going to flip it over to the back side so I can trace out both of the inserts and then cut out what I need. I'm going to be using this glue stick from Jot to glue down my paper onto the insert. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting a generous amount of this glue on this insert because I've never used this glue to glue down anything, but I did have a subscriber mention it to me instead of using Mod Podge, so I want to give this a try. I'm also going to apply some to the back of the paper. Next, I'm going to go ahead and apply the paper onto the insert. Next, I'm going to add some hot glue to the back side of the frame. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the insert inside the frame. And I'm just going to push down on the insert to make sure that it adheres to the frame. And this is how it turned out. Now I'll be doing the same thing to the other frame. And this is how both of them look. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to need a base for these so it can have some stability. So I'm going to be using some other box decor from Dollar Tree, and these are old. This is one from Valentine and the other one's a trick-or-treat box. So I just wanted to point something out to you. Now with these boxes, they're solid all the way through. They don't have an insert. So these, you can't do what I did with the other ones, but you can also attach the paper to them by just simply cutting out the square and then applying it. And here I'm just showing you when I assemble them together, this is how they're gonna look. But first, I'm gonna take the base outside and I'm gonna spray paint it with some white spray paint. Now for the hangers itself, I'm going to be using these deer heads, and they're actually ornaments from Dollar Tree. I'll be using 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the greenery and the little bell and the little berries off this deer head, and I'm going to completely strip it. So I wanted to remove the glitter off these deer heads, and I started by sanding it, and it didn't work very well, so I ended up soaking them with some soapy warm water, and after just a few minutes, the glitter just started to slip right off the deer head. I did have to use my fingernails to scrape it off, but it would slip right off, so I had no problems getting this off. After that I rinsed them and dried them off, this is how my deers look now. Next, I'm going to be spray painting them with this metallic gold by Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover. I'm also going to be using the fur from this Santa hat that they have at Dollar Tree right now. So the paint is dry on my two bases and also on my reindeers. So now it's time for me to assemble everything together. For permanent hold, I'm going to be using the Fix-All adhesive, but I'll also be using some hot glue. So I'm going to start by adding some Fix-All there to the base, and then I'll add some hot glue, and then I'll place my frame on top of that. And this is how it turned out. And now I'm just going to let the glue set for a few minutes before I continue with my project. So I want to add a furry collar to my reindeers, so I'll be using that fur from this Santa hat, and I'm just going to cut a piece just big enough where it'll go around the neck of the deer. Once I have the size that I need, I'll go ahead now and hot glue it onto the neck. So as you see me do there, I'm going to do one side and then I'll turn it to the other side and do the other side. So I'll just be doing this in two sections. Because the fur was a little bit too long, I'm going to trim off some of those long strands. Next, I'm going to hot glue the bell and also the little berries that the deer originally came with. I really love what the spray paint did to this deer head. It makes it look very high end, and I just love how this deer head turned out. Lastly, I'm going to be applying my deer head to the frame, but first I'm going to add some super glue and hot glue to the back side of the deer head. And this is how it turned out, and now I'm going to repeat the same process to the other frame. And to give them that extra glam look, I hung these Dollar Tree sequins stockings. For the deer stand, I'm going to be using two of these deers from Dollar Tree. I'll also be using a mixture of warm water and soap to spray them down. Since I want to remove the glitter off these deers, I'm going to start to spray them down with this mixture, and I just want to soak them really good with the soapy water. Once that they are drenched in water, I'm going to start to scrape them off just using a ruler that's made out of metal. So anything that you have that works as a scraper will work great for this. Now I know that this theme is gold, but I really don't like the glitter on the deer. For one, because it comes off very easily. And two, I think that spray painting it with a gold spray paint makes it look nicer and neater. As you can see, once it has a lot of the soapy water soaked in, the glitter comes right off. I'm going to repeat the same process to this other deer as well. And this is how they turned out. I went ahead and I took them to the sink and I rinsed them off really well. There's still a little bit of glitter here and there because glitter is very hard to remove. It just kind of sticks even if there's no glue. But this is how they look now, and what I'm going to do with them is take them outside and I'm going to spray paint them with that gold metallic spray paint. So I want to create a stand for my deer, and I'm going to go ahead and use these box Christmas decor that they have at Dollar Tree right now. And I'm also going to use 2 pieces of dowel, and those I did get at Walmart. I happened to have them offhand from another project that I was going to create, and these are about 13 inches in height. On this box right here, I went ahead and I made a hole in the center, and that's what I'm going to do to this other one, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I started off by marking the center with a marker, And then I came in with a sharp knife. Now I usually use this knife for so many things, for crafting. I decided not to use a drill because I really didn't think I needed it since this is just compressed paper. It's not even wood. So all I'm doing is just going around in circles and just piercing a hole through the center of this box. And then once you get the hole big enough where your dowel will fit really snug, then you're good to go. Now I'm ready to assemble my stand, and I'm gonna start by gluing my dowel into the platform. So as you can see, I first added some to the dowel, and now I'm gonna add some to the platform. And then I'm also gonna add some hot glue to both of the items, and then I'm gonna insert my dowel into the hole. And now I'm gonna flip it over to the back side, and as you can see, the dowel went right through. Now what I'm gonna do now is add some more hot glue around the dowel and just make sure that the dowel will adhere really well to the base. So I'm gonna let this sit for a few minutes until the glue hardens. Then I'll be taking them outside and spray painting them with the gold spray paint. Okay, so the deers are back inside now that the spray paint has dried, and this is how they turned out. I'll be using this other gift bag to cover their body, and this is another shimmery, pretty gift bag that I picked up at Dollar Tree. So once I've cut out the piece that I'm gonna need, I'm gonna place it over the deer, and then I'm gonna flip it over to the back side. And then once I adjust the deer where I need it to be, I'm gonna start outlining the body only, meaning I'll be leaving out the legs, the tail, part of the neck, and the head. And so what I'm doing here is just connecting the areas where I couldn't draw out, and that's part of the legs, and then right there is the tail. And then up here on the side is the front leg. And then up here on the neck, I'm just gonna draw a line across and then finish it off. And now I'm just gonna cut out my pattern. And here I'm just gonna place it over my deer and just to see how well it's going to cover, and I think it looks pretty good. So now what I'm gonna do is glue it down. So once again, I'm gonna use the glue stick by Jot. And now I'm just gonna apply the glue all over the body of the deer where I'm gonna place the pattern. And I am gonna apply a generous amount of glue. And now I'm ready to place my pattern over it. And I just wanna tell you that with this glue, it adheres really quickly, so you don't really have time to move your object around. So you have to make sure that you place it right where it needs to be. So here I'm just gonna smooth it out and make sure that there's no bubbles. And this is how it turned out so far. And I do have to say that I did like using the glue stick. So thank you so much for my subscriber that gave me this idea. And since this is only for indoor use, I'm not gonna seal it with anything on the top. Next, I'll be cutting another piece of fur to put it around the neck of the deer as I did with the other deers. So I'll be using some hot glue for that. I'm gonna put a strip of hot glue there on the neck, and then I'm gonna place the fur over it and then turn it over to the back side and add some hot glue to the ends and glue the ends down. And this is how it turned out. Now the fur was a little bit wild, so I did have to add some hairspray to calm them down or comb them down, and that way they could look more presentable. And here's the stand, and now what I'm gonna do is attach the dowel to the back side of the deer. Since the deer is not heavy at all, I'm just gonna add some hot glue. I'm gonna put it there on the back side of the deer and then place my dowel over it and hold it for a bit until the glue starts to harden. I'll also be using some duct tape just to reinforce it. So I added some more hot glue and then I placed the duct tape over it. And this was the last step, and now I'm done with my deer stand. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and also share. I'd really appreciate it. So until my next video, bye-bye and God bless.